Hey everybody, it's Mike here from The Art of Guitar. I'm back with another bad tab video, and I'm excited about this one because I keep thinking I'm going to run out of bad tab books, but they just keep popping up in my life. Even ones from a long time ago. For example, this particular series we used to carry in a music store that I used to work at. It was in the back corner. We had all these tab books and sheet music, and this particular series stood out because the binding was different. It was actually made so that you could open it and it would stay open, which I wish all tab books would do. Because there was nothing more frustrating than when you're trying to learn some really tough solo and the book keeps shutting on you, and sometimes it would fall to the floor, fall off the music stand. I hated that. So I wish all the books would have this kind of binding. But unfortunately, what's inside this book, what's inside this series, in fact, is pretty freaky. I decided to go with the MÖTLEY CRÜE edition first. A big part of that is because I was in a MÖTLEY CRÜE tribute band for a while. It was a lot of fun, so I know a lot of these riffs already. And so I thought it'd be really cool to pretend I'm going back to 1986 when this book came out and cracking it open for the first time to learn my favorite riffs. I kind of want to see what that experience would have been like. A couple funny things about this book is on the cover, it has the name of the band, the songs, but it also says includes Super Tab, which is hilarious, and we're going to find out why pretty soon. Here's that binding I'm talking about. So this thing opens and stays open, so I will not need a page holder today, even though I was going to use this, my Thrashmaster pedal. But this pedal will have to wait for my video that I'm going to do on it pretty soon, so keep an eye out for that. The price is on the back. It went for $10.95 back in the day, so today that would be like $100. Three things that are criminal about this book is the first thing is there are no guitar solos tabbed out. So if you're looking to play any Mick Mars solos, you are out of luck. The second thing is that there are a ton of misprints. So you could kind of tell as you're looking through it that they meant to put certain tab numbers on certain strings, but the next time they'll put it on different strings and it'll completely derail the whole song. But the worst part of this book is that the transcriber transcribed it in standard tuning, when Mick Mars actually tunes down a whole step to D standard. And what that does is it makes everything way harder because you have to do all these really strange fingerings just to do what are typically not that difficult of riffs. I mean, compared to what the book has, Mick Mars's actual riffs are very playable. So as Tommy Lee would probably say, this book is not very choice.
Well, you sound like you're doing choice. Hey.
Okay, so let's get started. Let's just go in the order of the book. What I want to do is I want to play the main riff from each song and compare it to what it should be compared to what the book has. So my black Les Paul is tuned down a whole step. So I'll be playing the correct versions on this guitar. Then when I switch to my white Jackson, I'll play what's out of the book. All right, first song is Knock 'Em Dead Kid. And this riff is pretty straightforward rock. Goes something like this. Such a fun riff to play, especially when the drums kick in. Okay, let me switch to the white guitar and see what the book says to do. Okay, this actually isn't too bad, but it does make the fingering a lot more difficult than it has to be. So in the book, they want us to go... Because I have to keep that G fretted, it kind of makes the rest of it a lot more clumsy than it has to be. When you're riding that fifth string, like when you're tuned correctly, it's so much easier. They also don't have any palm muting notation on this particular song, so you're left to just go... If you did palm mute it, it would sound a lot closer. But it's still a lot harder to play than if you were in the right tuning. Okay, back to the black guitar, or back to black. So you're gonna see that some of these are quite forgivable because they're pretty close, except for the whole tuning thing. But some of them are really, really off to the point where it's almost ridiculous. Let's check out Bastard. Bastard starts with this really killer Tommy Lee drum fill.
You like that shit, huh, Tacoma?
Then there's a guitar slide followed by some natural harmonics. Now, this book does not have any natural harmonics in it at all, which is really crazy because Mick Mars makes it one of his staple moves. So here's what you're supposed to do. That's actually supposed to be before the main riff, but it's nowhere to be found in the book. And then the actual part's supposed to be... Once again, quite a hot rockin' riff, and you can tell I rely a lot on this open fifth string. And notice the connecting notes change. So... And then, okay, let's hit the book. Now this would kind of suck if you were purely a tab reader because they actually have the chords above the staff line. So it says C5, E flat 5, D5 to C5. So you'd be out of luck if you didn't know where that was, but if you did, you'd probably just go like this. It's such a dumbed down version than the real thing. Let's listen to that once again. I guess you could say they bastardized the song Bastard. Congratulations. Okay, what is next? Ooh, Livewire. One of my favorite riffs to play live. You gotta do those crazy downstrokes. So the real version's more like this. All those downstrokes are on the open A string, which is now tuned down to G because we're a whole step down. So that makes this riff pretty simple as far as just fretting goes. Picking is another story, but still, once you got it. And then you have to do this cool harmonic roll. The second time through, you're supposed to do this walk down. It's pretty sweet. Let's see what the book has us doing. We'll start with a walk down because that's the last thing I just played. And the book does an okay job. They have us playing it back here because they have to compensate for the tuning. So that I can live with. The main riff, though, they're having us play it back here at the 3rd frets. So we have to bar across and then jump to this G for our downstrokes. Once again, they don't have any palm muting written down. So it would be like this. Then they say B flat 5 to C5. You could just go. So that actually kind of works. But here's where they crap the bed. Okay, so instead of doing those harmonics, I'll just do it on standard here. It says notched for some reason, knocked. Muffled, lay right hand palm lightly across strings and play these notes. That's what they got out of the harmonic part. So here's the harmonic part. This is what they have. It's two completely different worlds. So if I put that together with the main riff, here's what we'd have. Makes no sense. For our next song, Danger, we're going to go to clean sound, and it's a really nice flowing arpeggiated pattern in the beginning. And now you're supposed to go like this. Has a nice flow, doesn't it? Okay, let's see what the book does to it. So we'll go really slow in the beginning here. Okay, that's not so bad. That's just a bar chord. But then you have to do this. It's weird that you have to move your pinky back and forth in order to accommodate this version. The next two measures are unforgivable. Yuck. And then the fourth measure's the worst. That feels more like some kind of Paul Gilbert exercise or something. That'd be a good exercise, actually. If you try to play this with that same flowing quality as the real version, good luck. Let's see what happens here. Whew. Okay, let's move on. The next song is a tune that I always look forward to playing whenever I did the Mötley Crüe tribute. The beginning is just so rockin', and it's actually a pretty simple riff. So you're supposed to go. It's a riff you could probably play after 1 or 2 guitar lessons, to tell you the truth. Let's check out what the book has. Now, right away, I could tell that they're separating the strings quite a bit for the intro. So they want us to go from the 6th string and jump across to the higher strings when you don't really have to. So here's what they have. Now that's okay, but the next part you have to do a power chord while keeping this pedal tone happening at the bottom. And they don't say to slide. So you're gonna have to pick all that. So it ends up being weird, like. Let's look at the real version one more time. It's so tragic how much easier that really is. The next song is Piece of Your Action, which has a great intro riff. Mick Mars has his toolbox and he keeps going back to the same tools, but they're so effective, why not? So you end up with this riff. There are those 5th fret harmonics again. So that riff is just like a lot of the other riffs where you play power chords walking down and you have that 5th string open as your bass note. You're not going to believe what the book says to do. This is so crazy. Once again, they have us going from the lowest string to the highest string. So this huge jump you have to do. This is just kooky. That's a typo, but still, had to play it. And instead of doing the natural harmonics, they want us to jump all the way to the 19th fret and do that. So let me try this in time and see if I can even get up there in time. That was tough. Once again, watch the real way. Now the riff to Red Hot is actually pretty difficult, even if you do it the right way. It's just the timing of it. You know, Tommy Lee is doing his double bass groove and you have to stay in time with it. And it could be a little bit tricky. And this is the way over the years I've learned to do it. As long as you can lock onto the drums, that's a very effective way to play that riff. There aren't too many videos of Mick Mars playing that riff, which is very frustrating. Every time they show him, he's like far away and it's really hard to see what his fingers are doing. But I'm really sure he's not doing what the book says to do. So I have to admit, if you did a few little changes, the book's version could actually be pretty passable. But here's what they say. D power chord because they're not tuned correctly. And then no pull-offs or anything like that. Just if you don't do a pull-off, it's really hard to pick that in time. And then they go down here. And here's another typo. If I just add a few little elements to it, it could actually sound pretty close. Okay, let's move on. We have some doozies coming up. Out of all the riffs that I practiced for the tribute band, this one took me the longest to get a natural feel when I played it. Just because it's a very complex riff, it's too young to fall in love. Not to mention having to sing backup while you're playing that. It almost has to become automatic. Okay, let's switch to the white guitar. The way they have this written out, it almost feels like the first level of Guitar Hero where you're just playing the real basic part of it. And it's very choppy and goofy at the end. So janky. So if I tried to play that up to speed, it would sound like this. I'm going to start 10 Seconds to Love off with this white guitar because this is kind of a strange thing. They have the beginning riff transcribed an octave too high. And then they don't give you any chord to go to after that. It's really strange. It's just a blank measure. So that's all you get for the intro. You don't even get that last note, actually. I added that in. So if you listen to the real version, it sounds like this. So it makes me wonder if the transcriber heard that low D in the beginning and thought, oh no, I've been transcribing this whole book in standard. Too late now, let's just keep going. That's just what I'm imagining happened. For Take Me to the Top, I'm really going to talk about the second riff. So the song totally changes grooves, and I think that's such a cool sound. It's one of my favorite Mötley Crüe moments of all time. And that's when Mick Mars does this really sweet artificial harmonic on the open string. It's such a sweet sound. I love that. He also goes the other way too. The book leaves you completely in the dark for this part. Let's check it out. I have to quickly mention how they have us playing the intro riff too, because it's pretty insane. That's so frustratingly hard to play. Anyway, I'm talking about the second riff. Okay, so they don't even tell you what to do. They just say G minor 5 played a bunch of times, and then an E flat 5 to a B flat 5. I guess I could still try to do that trick, even if the book doesn't tell me to. Let's hear how that sounds. I'd say it's an improvement. It's weird because the book tries to do some palm muting notation. So on the other page, it has a B in a circle and it has dots, just like, palm muting has today. So that's kind of cool that they did that back then, but they have to explain it. So at the bottom, it says strum passages marked B in quotes on the lower strings, muffling them by laying the right hand palm lightly across. Tab was kind of like the Wild West back then. Everybody had their ways of notating, but that's kind of interesting that they put a B in a circle and a dotted line, and that's supposed to be palm muting. I'm still trying to figure out what the B stands for, though. If you have any ideas, let me know. Okay, the last tune is Shout at the Devil with that epic intro, right? So if you were to play the real version, it goes like this. It's so epic to do that pick slide right into those notes. So after you do that, you just go back and forth. I like to throw in those harmonic squeals. It's always fun. But you can see how I just stay in one spot, even for the walk-up. The book has us jumping around, and it's weird. Watch this. So once again, we have to fret the G note, and then they want us to break up a power chord into two parts like this. It's pretty close in sound. So when you go, it's not that much different. Then they want us to do the same thing, but move up to C this time. So if you go back and forth like that, it would be... It's more like a Nirvana riff. And then the walk-up riff, they do an okay job transcribing this. But just the effort of having to jump around for this riff, when really you're just supposed to stay in the one spot right here. So let me try it full speed. It pains me to play it that way just because I love this riff so much when it's played correctly. Although I do have an embarrassing memory of this playing it live one time. We decided to stretch the intro a little bit and I forgot that we were going to do that. And I just started going, shout, shout. And I look over and no one else in the band is singing with me. They're all just like, not yet, not yet. So they just kind of left me hanging. But yeah, that was embarrassing. Okay, everyone. So that was the Mötley Crüe edition of Guitar Superstar series, including Super Tab. I actually ordered 3 other versions of this series. So one with Heart, one with Led Zeppelin, and then a surprise one that I'll keep secret until I put out the video. But I'm looking forward to getting them and seeing if they're just as insane as this one, and I'm guessing they are. So thanks for watching, everyone. If you have this book or any book in this series, let me know. And let me know what your experience was in trying to learn from them. And if it hindered you or if it made you give up guitar altogether, who knows? All right, everyone, we'll see you at the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.